Good morning, it's Mrs. Gadd here with your lesson 5 for maths this week. Today we're going to be learning how to solve problems involving area. So you have been learning about area this week, and today is your chance to have a go at solving some problems, so applying your knowledge. So your aim for today is to find the area of a rectilinear shape by counting the squares. So the key thing to remember is that area is the space taken up by a 2D shape or surface. It is inside a shape. So rectilinear, I know I spoke to my class about this a few weeks ago. Rectilinear means two rectangles that have been put together to make a new shape. Okay, so let's have a look at the first question. Which shape has the larger area? So we don't have any measurements, we are just using our eyes to judge which has the larger area. So we know we're looking at the space inside the shape. So pause the video, which shape do you think has the largest area? Okay, let's have a look. So you should have identified that it is the purple shape which has the larger area. And in fact, we could probably slide this one across to fit inside the purple shape. And that shows that this has the larger area. Okay, the next question then. Which shape has the smallest area? Pause the video and come back when you're ready. Okay, again, we could probably fit this yellow shape inside the purple shape. Therefore, the yellow shape is the shape with the smallest area. It's got the smallest space inside. Okay, the next question, we have 3 different shapes. This time you need to order the shapes from smallest area to largest area. So have a think, use your judgment. Which shape do you think has the smallest area to start with? Then you might choose to start with the biggest area. Maybe that's the one that jumps out at you immediately. And then think which is the next biggest. So pause the video and then come back when you think you've got the answer. Okay, let's have a look. So actually, I noticed that B was smaller than A. And I can see this because B, if I filled out the sides and included these parts here, that would make a square. However, we haven't got a square here, we've got a trapezium. So we've got these parts missing out of the square. So it definitely seems smaller than A. So we've got the smallest shape is B, then we've got A, and we can see that A is clearly smaller than C. We could probably almost fit 2 of A inside C. So the order should be B, A, and C. Okay, another question I want you to have a look at is how many small squares make up each shape? And then you're going to match each shape to the correct number. So here you've got 1 small square. We're going to use these to try and help us work out the areas of the following 4 shapes. So I'm not actually going to ask you to draw them. Again, you're using your eyes as a judgment here. So you're trying to work out how many of these could I fit into, for example, this shape here. How many would it be? So you've got to work out which shape is going to contain 2 squares, 3 squares, 4 squares, and then 5 squares. So again, you might choose to start from the smallest, or you might choose to start from the biggest. So pause the video and then come back when you think you've got the answer. Okay, so for me, the easiest shape was this one here. It's the smallest out of the 4, and I can roughly judge that that is about 2 squares. So I think that one matches to 2. And then 3 is just 1 more square up from that. So I can see that that is the same as this shape here with another piece added on. Okay, so I think that would join up to 3. Then we've got these 2 shapes left. So for me, this one is probably the easiest. Again, this middle part here, I think looks like this shape here, which we agree is 2 squares. So this must be 2 squares running down the middle, and then either side, a bit like with this shape here, you've got 1 small square there, which must correlate to that one there, and another small square there. So I think it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. And then this one here, this kind of looks like a longer version of that one. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, like this one, 1, 2, 3, and then it's got this shape attached to the end of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that should be a 5. Let's check. Yep, that's right. So that's got 5. Oh, excuse me, that's the wrong button to press. 4, 2, and 3. Okay. Now here's a true or false question, and for these questions you have to explain how you've got your answer. So when you're having a think about this question, I'd like you to explain to the adult in the room with you how you know it's true or how you know it's false. So area is the space inside a 3D shape. Pause the video and think, is it true or false, and try and explain it to somebody in the room with you. Okay, did you think it was true or did you think it was false? Area is the space inside a 3D shape. So there's lots in this sentence that could be true. So I agree, area is the space inside. We know it's the space inside. However, I don't agree that it is a 3D shape. We know that area is the space taken up by a 2D shape or a 2D or a surface. So that is actually a false statement, simply because this lady is saying it's a 3D shape, but it's not. It's the space inside a 2D shape. Okay, next question. Riley says that these shapes have the same area. Is he correct? Explain how you know. So again, this is another yes or no, is he correct question, and an explaining question. So when you pause the video in a moment, I'd like you to explain it to an adult who is with you. How do you know? Is it the same area? Or is it not the same area? Pause the video, then come back when you're ready. Okay, let's have a look together. So is the area inside A the same as the area inside B? Now the shapes do look very similar. They're both crosses. Okay, so Riley is actually incorrect. Although the shapes are the same shape, this does not mean that they have the same area. So you may have noticed that shape A is much larger and covers much more space than shape B. In fact, shape B could fit inside A and it would disappear. So because shape A is larger and covers more space, shape A has the greater area. Okay, hope you got on well with that one. The next question then is about Callum. So he's describing the area of each downstairs room in his house. So he explains there are 3 rooms downstairs. The dining room has the largest area. The kitchen has the smallest area, and then there's another room which he doesn't talk about. So let's look at the key information. There are 3 rooms, so 3 rooms need to be created on your floor plan below. The dining room is the largest area, so the largest area that you create needs to be for the dining room, and then the kitchen has the smallest area. So the 3 shapes you're going to create on your floor plan, the dining room has to be the biggest, the kitchen has to be the smallest, and then the other shape has to be a size in between those 2. So how could you split up the shape below to create a floor plan that would match Callum's description? Pause the video. You might even want to sketch it out in your books. Remember, we're drawing a shape, so we must use a ruler. Come back to me once you're done. Okay, let's have a look at an example together. So there are many possibilities, but here is an example. Here is the dining room. That certainly has got the largest area. Here is the smallest area, the kitchen, and then here is another room which has been labelled the lounge. So the lounge is bigger than the kitchen, but smaller than the dining room. And that was the instructions that you were given. Okay, Maria now. She says that these 2 shapes could have the same area. Is she correct? Explain how you know. So pause the video and talk to an adult who's with you. Could they have the same area? Yes or no? How do you know? Okay, let's have a look together. Yes, although they are different shapes, they could still cover the same amount of area, same amount of space, which could mean they have the same area. We can test this by moving the shapes around to see if they take up the same amount of space. So if we cut that shape and we move it, you can see that we can actually make a rectangle. And in fact, they are the same size when you move them together. Did you get the same answer? Okay, over to you now. I'd like you to have a go at the questions that are on your sheet. You might notice they are quite similar to the questions that we have just looked at together. So if you're not quite sure, go back through this video one by one, and that should help.